So there I was, about to record the Geek Fix with Aaron Sparrow. We were going to record something about Snow White. I didn't particularly want to make a video about that, but that was my backup plan. My number one plan was that Marvel Studios had said that they were going to have this amazing announcement, and Mark Miller got me all excited. He's like, man, what could be bigger than Robert Downey Jr. returning? It's got to be Tom Cruise's Tony Stark from another multiverse. Other people are like, no, this is going to be the freaking X-Men movie, a big announcement and the cast and everything. I was like, okay, we're going to cover that. And then it happened about 45 minutes before my podcast, The Geek Fix with Aaron Sparrow, if you haven't checked it out, it is on the Patreon, started recording. And it was just a bunch of chairs with names on it. And I think it had only gotten through 5 names in like 45 minutes. I was like, what in the hell is this? This is not exciting. This doesn't get anybody excited for anything, even Avengers Doomsday. And then it went on and on and on and on. Aaron and I finished up the recording of the Geek Fix. I went there at the end to name off the announcements, and it wasn't done yet. That's how long it lasted. It lasted 45 minutes before the recording. The podcast was 2.5 freaking hours, and there was still like 2 hours left to go. What a lame ass way to make any announcement. What is Marvel trying to do? Bore everybody to death? Not get you excited about the fucking return of Robert Downey Jr., as Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday? And my goodness, once you start seeing this cast, this looks like the hottest of hot messes that I've ever seen in my life. THR broke it down. During a near 5.5 hour live stream, Marvel Studios unveiled its cast for Avengers Doomsday, revealing a mix of Marvel Cinematic Universe mainstays, as well as actors from the 20th Century Fox now defunct X-Men universe, and upcoming stars of Fantastic Four First Steps. Notable names missing from the roll call included Tom Holland as Spider-Man and Chris Evans as Captain America, the latter of whom is expected to appear in at least one of the 2-part movies. So those are the big omissions thus far. I imagine at some point, Tom Holland as Spider-Man will be in there because he might be the second or third biggest draw in the entire MCU at this point. Not really sure what's going on with Chris Evans. I thought we got the big news that he was coming back probably to play Hydra Supreme or whatever, or some type of multiversal frickin' Steve Rogers to appear in these movies, but they haven't announced that part yet. 5.5 hours of not showing the actors or scenes from previous movies to get you excited about what these people have done before, or perhaps what they're going to do in the future. 5.5 hours of chairs with names on it. And then that's just, like I said, the beginning of the problem. Once they start announcing the cast, and we aren't getting Spider-Man, at least they haven't announced yet, not Captain America, they haven't announced that yet, it looks so much worse. The cast announced include Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man, Letitia Wright as Black Panther, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Danny Ramirez as the Falcon, and Winston Duke as M'Baku. The cast of Marvel's upcoming May release anti-hero team movie Thunderbolts was also represented with Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier, Florence Pugh, Yelena Belova, Wyatt Russell, U.S. Agent, David Harbour, Red Guardian, Hannah John Kamen, Ghost, and Lewis Pullman, a character at this time simply known as Bob, also getting chairs in the soundstage as the live stream showed. And basically right there, they spoiled what member of the Thunderbolts is going to die. I wonder, is it going to be Taskmaster, the only person in the movie that's not announced in there? So that was pretty fucking stupid. And then Anthony Mackie, who's awesome as Falcon. Got no problems with Anthony Mackie as Falcon. I don't really have any problems with Anthony Mackie as a human being. I do believe he made a jackass out of himself in Italy while he was trying to promote Captain America. Captain America Brave New World just bombed. Nobody really liked it. The TV show was stupid. And Anthony Mackie as Captain America doesn't work. Why are we doing that? Letitia Wright is going to be presumably the Black Panther herself now. Did you guys not notice that Letitia Wright as Black Panther looked ridiculous because she weighs about, 42 pounds with the fucking suit on? She's just too freaking small. She was annoying as Shuri, but as Black Panther, it's pretty much fucking insulting. Just recast the goddamn character at this point, or hire somebody to be a new Black Panther with a new fucking story or whatever that can actually fill out the suit and doesn't look goddamn ridiculous. Then Shang-Chi, another movie that bombed. Simu Liu doesn't have a good Q rating. Nobody likes this guy. So while you do have some things that are exciting, and yes, it was going to be very difficult to not do something exciting with 27 names that you announced over 5.5 hours, there's a lot of red flags in there. They've got a lot of stuff that isn't working, and apparently they're just going to force feed it into this fucking Avengers Doomsday movie and basically ignore the audience reaction to what they presented over the last, 4 years at this point? When was Endgame? I don't even remember anymore. It's been that long. And the MCU in phases 4 and 5 has been that forgettable, but they're taking all these stupid ideas that have failed, and we don't know what's going to happen with Thunderbolts, have a feeling it will fail, and are just force-feeding this thing in this movie and bloating it out to proportions that would make even James Gunn and Superman blush at this point. But we weren't done. The cast also included X-Men actors Patrick Stewart, Professor X, Ian McKellen, Magneto, James Marsden, Cyclops, and Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, who kicked off the modern era of superhero movies with 2000's X-Men. The film Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige cut his teeth on as an assistant. They will be joined by X2 X-Men United, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, and Kelsey Grammer as Beast, who starred in X-Men The Last Stand for 20th Century Fox, and had a cameo in the Marvels. Channing Tatum, who was once attached to a Gambit movie that never happened, will also appear in Doomsday after making his debut in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, how many fucking cameos do you need in a single movie? We're just going to grab the scrap heaps of a fucking the Fox X-Men universe. Obviously, Wolverine will be in there as well, and probably Deadpool. I mean, I like Ian McKellen as Magneto. I think he's fantastic. I like Patrick Stewart as Professor X. I thought it was perfect casting. But those fucking movies are 25 years old at this point. Like, what is going on here? You know, is Rebecca Romijn even still hot? I mean, she probably aged very well and probably looks like a well-distinguished, pretty freaking hot Mystique. But she's got to be in her 50s at this point. Does anybody want to see her naked with blue paint and scales fucking glued onto her? I mean, I liked Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler in that X2 movie. I thought he actually did a really good job, but Kelsey Grammer as Beast sucked. He was actually pretty awful. And it just looks like they have nothing left to give. They have no more story to tell. They have no real direction for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the only thing that's been working lately is cameos. So to ensure Avengers Doomsday success, they're just going to shove as many cameos into one movie as humanly possible. I guess with the belief that it can't fail at that point, because admittedly, Spider-Man No Way Home, lots of cameos from the Sony movies and all that stuff really worked out for them. Lots of cameos and, fan casting was thrown into the Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. Now, it didn't do probably as well as they anticipated with its opening weekend. It still made money, so I guess that was a success. And certainly Deadpool and Wolverine, full of fucking cameos, but nothing compared to this, was very, very successful. But it's like the only trick that they have now. It's like comic books and variant covers. It's like, oh, you can't sell us on a story anymore. You have no more character development. You don't have anything left to say. So let's just cram a bunch of stuff in here and be like, well, everyone's going to like at least one of these things and will have to come to the freaking movie. It's like, are you going to have a new X-Men team or not? Are we literally going to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in his fucking 60s? Like, how ridiculous are we going to get with this stuff? Just put it on the fucking back burner, let it simmer down for, 3 or 4 years, and then reboot the goddamn thing, because it's clear that the MCU has gone off the rails under Kevin Feige. He's lost the message. They're bringing the Russos back as well, try to bring something else that was successful. But, we just saw the Electric State. Didn't really work out for him. The only thing I've liked from any of the Russos since, Endgame, I guess, was the Extraction movies, which I think was written and produced by one of them. I think Joe Russo. I don't even think the other Russo brother was in there. But they are basically addicted to just bringing back stuff that worked before because they have nothing left to give. Members of the Fantastic Four are also in the cast, including Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as the Invisible Woman, Eben Moss-Baccarat as the Thing, and Joseph Quinn, the Human Torch. Tina Huerta Mejia, who played Namor in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, was the first true surprise of the casting event. There were questions over his return to Marvel after he was accused of sexual misconduct in June of 2023, claims he denied as false and completely unsubstantiated. Talk about stuff that didn't work the first time. I watched Wakanda Forever. There are major issues with that movie, namely the fact that every time you get anywhere and there's momentum in the story, they have to remind you that Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther himself, is dead, and you get sad again, and they never move on with the story. It just keeps like starting and stopping. But the worst thing about the movie, without a doubt, was Namor, the fucking fake Namor, Tina Huerta. Like, why are they doing this? Is the guy even going to get in shape this time, or is he still going to be pudgy fucking Namor? Like, what are you doing? That is something that was abjectly ridiculed and rejected basically across the board because it was fucking stupid. At some point, you have to admit your failings and realize something didn't work out. Something about this didn't work, whether it was our plans for it, it was the casting, the story we presented, but something did not connect with the audience. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to move on with plan D, E, F, G, Z at this fucking point. Why are you bringing back this failed fucking Namor? It doesn't even make sense, and we shall see what happens with the Fantastic Four. Certainly, in the past, there's been romantic entanglements between the Invisible Woman and Namor, certainly in the comic books. We'll see if it happens in the movies, but, you know, does anybody believe that Fantastic Four is just going to blow up? I hope that it does. I hope that it's good. It looks like it has a good tone to it. It feels very Fantastic Four. I like this tone. I like the setting. I like what they're showing us in the trailer. But I don't like Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. It feels so fucking weird. Even if he does have a voice in the trailer that somewhat sounds like what I think Mr. Fantastic would sound like. But another case of really weird casting. And what if Fantastic Four blows up in their faces and everybody hates that even more than the Marvels? You know, that movie only lost you a ton of money. Was it like $300 million in the end? What if Thunderbolts bombs bigger than the Marvels? Why are you already planning on shoving in this many characters that are so obsolete and some of them that are completely unproven? Like, it doesn't even make sense. They have no plan whatsoever for this, and apparently this isn't the end of it. Sources say that even with 26 actors announced, Marvel wasn't done with revealing the entire cast, although when and how another unveiling will occur is unclear. Well, hopefully it's not a bunch of fucking chairs again, because that was an enormous waste of time and pretty goddamn anticlimactic. But yes, we haven't announced Tom Holland. We haven't announced, Chris Evans. We haven't announced Brie Larson coming back. We haven't even announced the fucking Young Avengers that have to be stuffed in this goddamn movie. We still got to have Ironheart, fucking Kate Bishop. We got to have Miss Marvel. Who else have they done? America Chavez, probably Nova, Elijah Bradley, whatever the younger Bradley that's one of the Young Avengers. We haven't announced them in there. And there has to be some type of like good announcement in this to actually get people excited. And the word is, and has been for a long time, that there's going to be 50 named fucking characters in this movie that I assume will all have at least one fucking line of dialogue. So they're like speaking roles. You can't like, the only time I imagine Marvel would make a movie with this big of a cast is if they did Civil War. And I was like, that's ridiculous because it would be too big. And I think they did the right thing when they did Captain America Civil War, where they actually scaled it down for the movie and they made the sides much, much smaller, you know, and you were able to get a good, compelling story. You got the introduction of Black Panther in there. The Winter Soldier took on a whole new meaning. The big conflict between Captain America and Iron Man, all done very spectacularly. Love that movie, but they scaled it down and it was really smart for the movie. This feels like they're scaling everything up. They're doing the exact opposite. And I can't imagine any story requiring 50 superheroes in it that would actually make sense and actually be able to highlight those characters. Not to mention the fact that we're probably going to get 2 or 3 different versions of Robert Downey Jr. playing different fucking characters. Everybody's going to be a goddamn multiple or a variant or something to this thing. This looks like an unmitigated disaster just right out the gate with the way the announcement was done was awful. It is completely overstuffed, but it's not even done. It's probably not even halfway done with the actual casting. And these guys, like, how much is this movie going to cost? $600 million? Are we going to blow away The Force Awakens, what was that, 450 million or something that they had to spend on that movie? Oh yeah, and fuck you for wasting my time telling me this was going to be like groundbreaking stuff. Like, you won't believe this. I fucking believed every one of them. You guys are dumb enough to make all these announcements. Of course I believed you, but I thought it was going to be worth my fucking time. 5.5 hours? Go fuck yourself, Kevin Feige. That was not cool, man. Those people could have been reading actual comic books for 5.5 fucking hours and learn something about the characters instead of waiting online, looking at names on chairs on a live stream. How lame was that? If you appreciate the honesty here and would like to be part of the Think Critical family, support the channel, keep the videos flowing, keep the lights on. The best place to be is Think Critical Patreon. There's a link in the video description. There's a button right here. You go there, you find the right tier for you, you support the family, you get to be a part of it, and we hope to see you there very, very soon.